Before we start, I've just got a poem. Well, we'll have Michel's voice as well come in just to say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, lovely. So I'm going to start share a slide with you just as we start, and then read a poem, and then we can start. So, right, so the clearing. And I loved the title just as we were coming in, and I thought we're creating a clearing for our work as we're arriving together. Don't try to save the whole world or do anything grandiose. Instead, create a clearing in that dense forest of your life and wait there patiently until a song that is your life falls into your own cupped hands and you recognize and greet it. Only then will you know how to give yourself to this world, so worth of rescue. Who are we and why are we here? Michel, do you want to start?
Yes. Well, I'm going to make it simple. I mean, I've been coaching for 21 years, supervising for 19, and also I train supervisors since 2010, and so I've trained a lot of supervisors. And what else? And I'm part of that splendid team, the Center for Excellence on Supervision. And I'm working with Elizabeth and 6 other extremely nice people on revisiting the EMCC Supervision competencies.
Fabulous. So thank you, Michel. So my name's Elizabeth Reilly. So I wrote an alpha poem last night because I got so nervous thinking about an introduction. So I'm going to read it. Introduction. Insecurities bubble up as I try to find my way, noticing the tension swirling around within. Temptation to pick up my mask. Realize the only way is to release and let go of old patterns to conform, opening and trusting the space before me as I dive right in, knowing I am enough. Unmasked, sitting here before you, calm, carefree, ready to play, and resting in this space, curious and alive. Curious in what is waiting to be heard, open heart, open mind, open spirit, noticing with fresh new eyes. So thank you, all of you, for joining us. It's an amazing honor to share the space and for you to give up your time and be here with us. So just to give you some, I'm not even going, you've got the invitation to the GPS, and it says all a little bit about who we are and what we do and all of that. So I suppose I'm just going to be here as a person exploring with you. And I'd like to hand over to Michel, who will give you a little bit of context about what the supervision competencies. But while he does that, can you also please put in the chat your name and where you are, and I will just share the screen. So I've got the questions there ready for you. Your name, where you are, and what had you be curious about today's session that you chose to join us. And then while you're doing that, Michel, if you can give some context.
The context is the following, is that in 2006, the number of English professional bodies sit together in what's called the I don't remember the name, but everybody was there. ICF UK, EMCC UK, AOCS, Apex, etc., etc. And they created a set of competencies for coaching. And EMCC adopted it. And in 2012, EMCC decided to have its own framework, supervision competencies framework. And so we created, I was part of that team, we created the version 2, in fact, or 1.5, I would say, because the first one was from somebody else. And again, in 2019, we revisited again. So it's another version. And this other version, the purpose of the second version was to put more being, a bit less doing, a bit more doing, a bit less doing and a little more being, with the competencies 5, 6, and 7 about awareness, self-awareness, relationship awareness, and systemic awareness, which were quite new at that time. And now we are in the process of revisiting again in order to incorporate a lot of things that are new on the coaching market, coaching and mentoring market, like team coaching, like irruption of artificial intelligence, group coaching, the dominance now of remote supervision, or digital, things like that, new tools. Yeah. And so we are in that process. We have done the work, and now we are asking for feedback from what's called thought leaders, something like 20 people around the world who are, in theory, with a big knowledge about supervision, and also you. And today you are going.
Yeah, and I think so what we wanted was not just to stick with thought leaders, we wanted everybody's voice in, and to be included. And just so I'll go on to the intention. I'm going to share a slide as just for agree some ground walls of, just to say how we're going to work together. So we're all setting the scene of how we're going to work. So in our time together, to share, engage with generosity, care, and compassion, experiment and experience with open mind, body, and heart. Come with a sense of adventure and curiosity. Fun, play on purpose, courage to be vulnerable, and to take care of yourself and your processes. And our time together, so the intention of our time together is to collectively contribute, connect, and reflect on the future needs and best practice in the field of coaching supervision. I've got a slide of what's EMCC for, but I don't really want to go into that, but we can reference that if need be. But we're here to really just stop and get your input as to what you think are the future needs for supervision. And just to be open and hear what people would like or what people see we need in the future. And then if I just... Michel, is there anything that you'd like to say more on that?
The purpose of competencies, I'm not going back to the purpose of competencies. Set what is the profession, help to build an identity, supervisor's identity, etc., etc. All that is extremely important, but no, right. I think And the purpose of these competencies are to be worldwide, not
Perfect.
only Europe.
Yeah, perfect. So on that note, so I'm hoping that you've all put why you're here and where you're from and your name. So we've got all that captured. And then what we'd like to do is you're going to go into breakout rooms. And we've got some questions for you to think about. So in the first breakout room, I'm going to share the slide, and this is a question that we would like you to consider.
I have something to add is that we are talking about supervision of coaches, mentors, and supervisors of coaches and mentors, nothing else. Because if you look at the training training a supervisor for instance, psychotherapist is about 4 or 5 times the training for a coach. So to train a coach supervisor. So we limit supervision to supervision of coaches, mentors, supervisors of coaches and mentors.
So the question, how can your coaching practice adapt to meet the evolving demands of the future? And what strategies can we develop collectively to ensure EMCC global coaching supervision competencies remain relevant and impactful? So what we would like to do is if people could just start sharing some of their thoughts in the chats, what was coming up for you in the breakout rooms, and also people, if you would like to share what you discussed. And I'm just going to bring the question so we all come back and we know the question that you were looking at while you were in the breakout room. So please share so we can capture your thoughts.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering from what you just said, because I think a lot of the building of trust and the building of safety is about relationship in supervision. And as a supervisor, the building of that in the group is vital before we even start. How does what you've just shared with us, how much do you bring that into the space of a new supervision group?
I'm very open. I share. So I was diagnosed in January, and the day before going to see the consultant, I was wondering what I was going to do, whether I would share with people. And I chose to share because I didn't, one, there was something about authenticity and working with others and not asking others to do something I wasn't prepared to do myself. And the fear of pretending to be something or hiding a vital part, what I see is part of me. And so when I say fear, there was something I needed to just be me and to be able to be fully me, and to relax and be who I am, show up in all of me and what I am and what I'm not. And that's even with introductions why I shared the Alpha poem. And yeah, and it's lovely then what comes into the space and what people do share. And even when working with executives, when I share all of that, what really opens up and their ability to sit and be with themselves. So thank you, Anne.
No, thank you. Because why I asked is that I'm just on the second cohort of delivering supervision training, and one of the modules that I've ensured we built in was shame, the relationship to shame. Because I think as coaches, we suffer shame sometimes. Our clients most definitely suffer shame. And in supervision, it can be a very shaming experience if the supervisor is pretending to be something they're not, or believes themselves to be something more than they actually are. So no, I just wondered how you used it. And self-disclosure is interesting, both in coaching and in as supervisors.
Yeah, and I'm acknowledging, Matthew, your hand, and we'll come back. I will come to you. I think fear. So isn't it fear and love, isn't it? We've got the two sitting there, and I think even in preparation for today, as Michel talked about, we are within the working group, we're reaching out and I hate the word thought leaders, and that's why I thought, no, I'd like to do GPS, and I would like to find out what everybody, give the opportunity for members to be able to have a say and explore with us about supervision. But I had a conversation with Robin Shoei, and we were sitting there, and I said, I'm surprised that you said you're happy to have a look at some of the competencies with me, Robin, because Robin has a particular view, and he said, well, what is, the thing is, why are we doing this, or why? And we had a further discussion, but it was about fear and love.
Yeah.
And I think even in preparation for today, when I reached out to Nicola and said, oh, how many people were there? And she said, oh, we've got this many registered. And I went, oh, I'm really scared. And then I went, no, I'm not, because I love you all. And the intention of us all is to be a contribution, and it's a positive space. So there's nothing to be scared of. How magical for us all to be together. So thank you. And yes, I did feel fear and shame when I used to go and see a supervisor at the very beginning. And definitely I'll share, and then I'll go on to Matthew because I don't want it to be about me. There was something around pricing, because also the rate that when I first started was my average hourly rate. And then some of my work changed and my rate dropped. And I didn't want to tell my supervisor. So how I saw it is, what I did, I felt as though I was going to see the headmaster or a headmistress, and that's, it's a place of equality. We're partnering, is how I see it. We're exploring together. But now, enough about Elizabeth. I'd like to hear some more voices and some more things in the chat. If you could please share, that would be great. But Matthew.
Yeah, I think being more human, and definitely being yourself, and not letting the process dictate how you turn up in the sessions. And also, I love the fact that you're using the remarkable, because technology can help us to get rid of all of the mundane admin crap that we don't really want to be dealing with anyway, and then focus more on being a better coach, a better person, a better human being. I think that's where coaching can evolve. A lot of people use the notebooks and stuff like that, and all they become is paperweights, to be honest. And it's so much organization, and there's so many systems out there that can help. That's kind of my input.
Lovely.
I'd like to go back to shame. When I was a young coach, once I fell asleep during a coaching session. I met my supervisor, and I was really not ready to tell about that, but I told it. And then he said, well, Michel, welcome to the club. Now let's look into details. and we worked during 3 sessions on that question of why I fell asleep during a coaching session. And at the end, the answer was that because my coachee was very depressed. And I have discovered at that time that the depressed coachee is causing me to feel in some kind of, feeling asleep, in fact. And that was a big discovery. And now I don't hesitate to open, to give everything to the supervisor so we can work on everything. And I really, I appreciated that kind of progress, understanding what's going on during the session. And it was a big lesson.
Mm.
Well, I think what you're pointing to, or what for me you're pointing to, is the need for a coach to have some knowledge of transference and counter-transference.
Exactly. And even more than that, in my opinion.
Yes.
a big knowledge about all the intrapersonal mechanisms and interpersonal mechanisms.
Yeah. In fact, that came up in our group that, if you're going to run a supervision group or facilitate a supervision group, you've got to have some knowledge of group dynamics and group analysis and what happens in a group, because otherwise different people have different valences and they can get lost in the group or get damaged in the group if the supervisor isn't aware of it.
Mm. But now we are in a new world, and our supervisee or coachee are going to say at the opening of a session, well, my IA told me that blah, blah, blah. And so maybe we have to have some knowledge about what can an AI, artificial intelligence can do for a coachee or supervising. Well, it's time probably to...
We've just got Benita, so I know we need to go on to the second question, but Benita, I don't want to I would like to acknowledge you and bring your voice into the space. So is it a quick one?
Yeah, very, very quick, Elizabeth, and thank you. Thank you, Michel. Super interesting conversation in our group. We were talking a lot about AI, and the conversation has come up in here as well. And I think just picking up on something that Michel was saying there, with when we think about us as supervisors, it really has to start with us in having a really true, deep understanding of ourselves. So we can be looking at competency frameworks, we can be looking at understanding transference and counter-transference, and there has to be almost a step back that happens before that, and that real self-analysis in truly understanding ourselves and what it is that we're bringing into that space, which comes with then building that relationship, as you've said, with a supervisor that you can truly trust and really be able to bring so much more into those sessions. So it becomes, it's not a process.
Yeah, and thank you. And I think it's lovely because there's 2 words that I've picked up on. One, and it was Matthew, because Matthew used the word better, and I thought, oh, better than what? And when we talk about trust and just to acknowledge what you were saying, Benita, I think we're also, it's our humanity. We're not perfect. None of us are. It's that humanness, which is the beauty of it. And it's that noticing and being with our humanness and that vulnerability. We're exploring and evolving. And I guess we're not always going to get things right. And that's the purpose, that we can come in and have a look at some of that together and learn and discover. So thank you, Benita. Right, we now have another question for you, and it is a little bit of dreaming. And the question is, I'm just going to share it with you all. Share screen. So what would be great. We'd love you to really envisage yourself as a powerful magician wielding a wand that can transform your experience of coaching supervision and elevate your practice into something truly enchanting. Consider limitless possibilities as you reflect on a magical question. What profound impact would coaching supervision have on you, your clients, and your practice and society if all your wishes were granted? I want you to dream and just see where it takes you and see what opens up.
Over to you, Mrs. Wynne.
Send me back into the space. Lovely.
Lovely. Love the session. Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks.
really nice. Thank you.
We love such feedbacks.
Yes, we do. Just lovely to
Very
see.
inspiring conversation. Very inspiring.
Oh, thank
And we
you.
would like to benefit from it.
Yes,
Would
we
be
would.
nice.
I have something beautiful to show you, my magic wand.
Oh, Fiona, you're just amazing. Thank you.
It's a Harry Potter one, is it?
I was given this by a psychotherapy client years ago, and she was the one who said to me, "Oh, Fiona, do stop talking." Anyway, I can't always, but she gave me this, and I think it brought a sense of magic and joy into our sessions.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether you want to put that in the competencies.
So I think, Fiona, just thank you. So for me, I've just felt as though my fairy godmother has waved a magic wand over us. So really, yeah, how beautiful. Really, thank you for sharing.
Pleasure.
Come out in goosebumps, everybody. Just really lovely and moving. Thank you. So as we just land back in.
I have one also, but I don't know where it is.
You don't know where it is. Well, just as we're landing, everybody, just people want to start putting things into the chat. We've got plenty of time now just to start having conversations. So if people also would like to share, we'd love to hear your voices.
Yes.
So just
And
acknowledging
don't be shy.
Yeah. So just acknowledging, thank you to the people who have said that they need to be leaving. So thank you for being here and sharing your time and being a contribution and moving the discussion forward as well, and your generosity. So thank you. Got 2 hands up, so it's lovely. Oh, Matthew, you put your hand up first. We'd love to hear from you.
Just to pick up on something Fiona said, and it's important, and I think super important, to have humor in all of your sessions, to not be too serious. For what I believe in is you don't have to be too serious to be seriously effective in your coaching. I haven't done much coaching. I'm new to the idea, but in any of the sessions I have, I've always tried to just make it a conversation, so that the people don't feel like they're in this structured coaching thing, and they just relax, they take it easy, and they're more inclined to share and be open. And then it just turns into 2 people trying to understand how they can help maybe each other. But the humor thing, I think, is super important, because it takes the stiffness out of what people think coaching is. A lot of people think it's therapy. Now, there is the need for emotional intelligence, therapization, whatever you call it. Anyway, I could ramble on, but I won't.
No, but that's lovely. Really, I think that's beautiful, and I'm really getting the sense of holding lightly, just holding lightly. Thank you, Matthew, for sharing. It's lovely.
But I mean, practically, should it be part of the framework, of the competency framework? Should we have an item saying "have fun in your supervision session"? I mean, I'm not joking. I mean, how can we implement that.
Yeah.
Maybe
Please.
holding it lightly, because I think fun is a funny word. I hate the word fun. If somebody says, I want fun, I go the exact opposite way. And so, I think that it's about holding it lightly. And even I think what came into our group was people talking about the value of art, imagery, so much more than just the concrete mind in supervision, but it can be a creative space where many different ways of what wisdom can come in.
Oh, Anne, I love that word, wisdom. Thank you. Yeah, beautiful. Really lovely. Yes, somebody else has. Thank you very much, Anne. Appreciate it. So yes, somebody else has raised a hand. Would you like to share?
Is that me?
Yes,
Hi, everyone.
it is.
Hi, it's Layla. Lovely to be with
Hey,
you all.
Layla.
And I love what's been shared already. And I love, sorry, Anne, but I do love fun and playfulness and enjoyment. And I think what is really missing, I do a lot of work with executives and teams. What is really missing is people connecting with their human being and humanness in this world, which is becoming more superficial and polarized. So I think when I look at the coaching supervision space, and I do offer both one-to-one and group supervision, what is really, really important is to bring in my whole self as the instrument for the work. So poetry, playfulness, and also I'm going to add another layer for those who are bilingual or multilingual. And to me, that's actually should be part of the competencies in a way or another of how are we being, is also when I run coaching supervision sessions, I'm multilingual. So sometimes I do supervise in the 3 languages or in 2 languages with my clients. And it's just, it just flows because it comes out naturally, whether they want to speak in Arabic or whether they speak Arabic and French or whether they speak Arabic and English, is just there as long as they are expressing themselves and as long as they're showing up wholeheartedly for who they truly are in a supervision space. I think giving ourselves permission to just show up wholeheartedly with full presence, being creative and having more fun and enjoyment, and it could be playfulness, it could be object, it could be pictures, but also at the same time, because I hear a lot the word, we want to feel safe and in a safe environment. Yeah, as supervisors, I do believe we're co-creating that space. It's not just my responsibility, but also in my experience, it's not just a safe environment, but it's also a safe and courageous environment where we could have courageous and daring conversations.
Yes. That's really lovely. Thank you. I use the word brave, actually.
Yeah, bravery. Absolutely, bravery.
Bravery as a when starting to create the space versus safety. One thing that I would like to share, which we have been, it has been important actually in the group and in the working group, and also the structure of the working group. So the structure of the working group is that it is a diverse working group. It is not, and some of that, how I came into the group, there was a vacancy and a number of people applied, and I remember meeting with Angela, and it was to make sure that we had one of the things that was important to the group was diverse representation, and that not just being where people were based geographically, because that's where I got a bit chopsy going, well, you know, it's okay to have more than maybe one person from the UK because I'm bringing something different to the group that you may not have there. So it's about this whole diversity. And that's not just down to geography. And so, and I think the reason I raised that then is how we use language, and what play means to one person, the word, when I say the word play, and how it translates. So this then, in the wording, or when we are crafting, or when we've been reviewing, is to really then appreciate and recognize that for some people, when they're reading it, it's not their first language, and that it can be applied, the words will land as intended across the diverse countries that are the EMCC Global represents. No, so for today, just so people are aware, when I had a look at the number of countries that were represented by the people that had registered, there were 54. Now, when I'm working in an organization, or even if we're working in a leadership team, we can use words, and just in that small group of 13, and you're all in the same company on the same topic, how one person uses a word may be different from another person. So when I just want to, Layla and Anne, just to hold this humor play is just to, for all of us, it's just the intention. What are we intending? And then how can we communicate that intention? We all will have our own styles and approaches, but it's just this lightness, maybe, for the beingness, the humanity. And we will have our styles as to how we do it. I don't know. We'll see what comes out in the chat and everything. So thank you for your comments. Yes.
Ludmina is.
Yes, thank you, Michel. Ludmina.
Thank you. I found this conversation fascinating, and many things have been very inspiring. Some of the topics that came in our room was about the ethics and ethics, modern morality. But as I think it was David Hume who said, you cannot derive an ought from an is. So what we ought to do is the territory of our humanity. The meaning will always remain with the humanity. The AI, however powerful it can be, I believe, will not, we cannot give the AI deciding the meaning of what we're doing. This is the prerogative and the last frontier of what we're doing as whoever we are, parents, friends, coaches, professional, executive directors, supervisors, whoever we are responsible for the meaning we create. And this is something I wanted to bring in our conversation, because there are techniques of what and how we can show up with our clients as coaches and as supervisors for the coaches that we accompany. And the exploration of the meaning is, if I had this magic wand, I would like to infuse everything in every conversation and every silent space with the awareness of the meaning. And this is this existential part that I brought as a question when you started, you asked us about what we wanted out of this conversation. And I said, how can we bring the existential dimension? And probably this is this meaning dimension into the coaching and supervision competencies, actually, because it's not reflected yet. Just wanted to share this point about that. The isness cannot provide what we ought to do, and how ethics can only be generated by our humanity, and never an AI can take place for that.
Yes, it's beautiful. Thank you, Ludmina.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did I break the conversation?
No, to be honest with you, I think what you said was absolutely beautiful, and I thought I'm going to just pause and just see after what you've shared, what people feel, what else wants to emerge and be heard. So it's just giving space just to sit and just feel and notice.
Fiona was going to speak.
Well, I thought she was clapping.
Oh, yes.
She was applauding. But you could speak as well, Fiona. Were you going to
Right,
speak?
thank you. Well, I've just put into the chat that I sense what we're talking about, and I haven't heard the word, and I may have missed it, but we're talking about vertical development here. Ways of being and ways of making meaning. And what's just been said reminded me of that whole realm of development, personal development and professional development. So we have horizontal development, we learn our models and tools, and then we also learn how we are being as human beings. And I think, I don't know how you describe that as a competence, but it seems to me that's as important to put this together with this.
Yeah. So,
But I think whoever is assessing the competencies or assessing organisations has to have an understanding of that or a lived experience of it, because otherwise you're presenting the material, and if they don't understand what that is, you're being assessed at a much lower level.
Yes.
Right. In fact, in my supervision school, we have introduced a kind of force function, a new function, which we call inspiration or elevation, which is what you are talking about, Fiona. And well, I think my opinion is that it should be reflected in the competencies, but I mean, that's competencies is a co-construction, and some geographies are not really excited about such an idea.
I think that is the beauty of this group. That is the beauty of why we're having this conversation. And if this is what is emerging from the space of, we had 100 people on the call. And if this is what is coming out, then the data's there, and that is precisely what our work is to bring that to life and to raise that and to question. And that was the whole reason for this event, for it to be coming up through members and saying this is, and the question was, if we had a magic wand, what do we want? What do we need? And we've asked, what are the first question was about the future and what do we need to be doing? What practices or what do we need to be doing going forward? So there is a theme that for me is very much part of the theme that's coming through, because, and Leila, I acknowledge your hand and I will come back to you. So one of the things I just had a look at was people's feedback from the first session. because I just wanted to acknowledge some of the themes and for, you know, so you knew that we were looking at it and we hadn't been ignoring it, just because we'd had the discussions, and AI featured a lot. And I think Michel and I went into a breakout room, so I'm going to share a personal opinion. It's just what came up for me. And I said, look, AI, I will pick up on the word fear, actually, from when we were talking earlier about fear and shame. And I said, look, AI is here. The world is changing. And the world will continue to change. Finance, you know, I remember my son is 28, and when he finished school and was going through college, you know, and looking at roles, and there was no way, you know, all these finance systems, and they took over from bookkeeping. But I noticed that one person was going, oh, you could go off and do that course. I said, he's not doing that flipping course, because a machine will take that over. You know, it's where his brain can really make a difference. So management accounting. So the thing is that the world is changing, it's evolving. We will be still practicing, but we need to, as individuals, not be scared. But that's our work. If we're scared, then what is our work to do around this? Is an opinion. I'm not saying it's true, but this is where our self-awareness, this vertical, it's just this, the maturity or our development and this depth of understanding ourselves. It's a personal opinion, I will say. We're drawing to a close.
If I may just add something to that rich comment of yours. Hello, everybody. I think talking about fun, about in-depth, about humanity, and about inspiration, and I love what Michel has put in, because I truly believe that inspiration and elevation should be included in competencies at a certain point. I love that comment. Thank you. I think that we're missing one particular word, or actually planet, which is called relax. We spoke about fun. We spoke about a lot of stuff. But if we don't help our mentees, coachees, supervisees to relax, to trust, then the gate to taking them out from shame might not be easily opened. So I wish everybody deep breathing and relaxation and some distance. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we can continue the discussion and the conversation. I would like Layla's voice to come in as well, but I just want to acknowledge and thank you all and appreciate each and every one of you for your contribution, and it's been really valuable. So thank you, everyone, for your input, and really value it. And if if before you leave, you just drop a word of appreciation or how you're leaving the space, if you need to dash, it would be lovely to capture that as well, just for the whole group also, to acknowledging the group and the individuals. And I think that's it. So thank you.
You know, something I'd really love to, sorry, Michel, I jumped in ahead of you, but something I'd really like to capture as well is, Elizabeth and Michel, what is starting to become clear for you, or what is emerging for you? And you did touch upon it earlier on as well, but you know, one of the main aims of this session here is to, well, bring people together and really, but it started with the co-creation. So the Global Provider Summit, the GPS and the GPS Dialogue Series is all around co-creation. And it's beautiful that you've brought this as a topic that we can co-create together. And I was wondering what was becoming clear for you, or what you're taking forward.
I think it was actually in my poem at the beginning about introductions, and so I think there was something I was scared that maybe it got it a little bit wrong, or, you know, what are we doing? And there is nothing wrong. It's all in this space, and I think it's all beautiful. And that's the thing, the voices, the co-creation, and how important that is. And I would say, you know, we represent members. And so members' voices and this co-creation and listening to the voices and the community coming up to shape, there's something about it's rounded, it's not top down being fed, it's a community co-created, is how I'm making sense. That's me. But Michel, quickly for people, what would you like to add?
Well, just thank you. And maybe also thank you.
Yeah. As
Thank you,
always, Nicola, you're amazing in how you hold the space for us all. So thank you.
That's lovely to hear. Thank you. It is a proper pleasure and a privilege. I very much value this community that we're part of, and I'd say thank you to everybody here for just being brilliant as normal and as usual, and just bringing your thoughts and your. I love this word that you use, this beautiful word you use, Elizabeth, and everything that we bring and all our experiences are absolutely beautiful and beautifully imperfect, which I absolutely love, because it shows our humanity, and it shows our diversity of thinking and of presence. And so thank you everybody for just being brilliant and beautiful. And
have fun.
And fun.
And fun, yeah.
Thank you, everybody.